Welcome back. Today I'm not telling you just a coffee story. I'm telling you a story about a poor boy who refused to stay poor. This is the story of Howard Schultz, the man who turned Starbucks into one of the most famous brands in the world. But here's the important part. He did not start rich. He did not have powerful friends. He did not even create Starbucks. He only had a dream. Howard was born in Brooklyn, New York in 1953. His family was very poor. They lived in a small government apartment. It was crowded, noisy, and life was hard. His father worked as a truck driver. There was no big salary, no job security, and no health insurance. One winter day, his father slipped on ice and badly hurt his leg. He lost his job. No one helped him. There was no money, no support, nothing. Howard was just a young boy, but he saw everything. He saw his father sitting quietly on the couch. He saw the sadness in his eyes. He saw what happens when workers are treated like numbers instead of people. That moment changed him forever. Howard made a promise to himself. If I ever build a company, I will treat workers with respect. Life was not easy for him. He did not have nice clothes. He felt shy to invite friends to his home. Sometimes he felt invisible. But inside him, something strong was growing. Determination. He worked small jobs. He played sports. He sold newspapers. He saved money. And one day, he became the first person in his family to go to college. He went to Northern Michigan University. It was not a famous Ivy League school, just a normal university. He worked part-time jobs to pay his fees. After college, he started working as a salesman, and he was very good at it. Later, he began selling coffee machines to small shops. While checking sales reports, he noticed something unusual. One small company in Seattle kept buying more machines than anyone else. That company was Starbucks. At that time, Starbucks was tiny. It had only 4 stores, and it did not sell coffee drinks. It only sold coffee beans. Howard became curious, so he flew to Seattle to see it himself. The moment he walked inside, he felt something special. The smell of coffee, the passion of the workers, the energy in the air was different. He fell in love with the idea and decided to join Starbucks as an employee. But inside him, a bigger vision was growing. In 1983, he went to Milan, Italy for a business trip, and that trip changed everything. In Italy, coffee shops were not just places to drink coffee. They were places to talk, laugh, and connect. People stood at espresso bars and knew the barista by name. Coffee was not rushed. It was personal. Howard stood there thinking, America needs this. When he returned to Seattle, he told the founders of Starbucks, we should open coffee bars, not just sell beans. Let people drink coffee here. But they said no. They believed Americans would never pay $3 for a cup of coffee. Howard felt disappointed, but he did not give up. He decided to start his own coffee shop. He had passion, but he had no money. He asked investors for help. They said no again and again, more than 200 times. People laughed at him. They said it was too expensive. They said Americans would not understand. They said his idea would fail. But Howard kept going. Finally, some investors believed in him. In 1986, he opened his first coffee bar in Seattle. And something amazing happened. People loved it. They loved the music. They loved the smell. They loved writing their names on cups. Most of all, they loved feeling special. Howard proved something powerful that day. Sometimes the world says no because they cannot see your dream yet. But that was only the beginning. Howard's small coffee shop started doing well. People did not come only for coffee. They came for the warm feeling inside the store. They came to relax, to talk, and to feel welcome. While his shop was growing, something unexpected happened. The original owners of Starbucks decided to sell the company. Suddenly, the same company that once rejected his idea was now for sale. Howard saw this as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. For him, this was not just business. It was personal. It was the dream he once shared and was told no. But there was a big problem. The price was very high. He needed millions of dollars, and he did not have that kind of money. Once again, Howard returned to investors. Once again, he faced rejection. Many people told him he was thinking too big. They said coffee was just a simple drink. They believed customers would never pay high prices for it. But Howard had learned an important lesson. Rejection does not mean stop. It only means try again. After many meetings and many closed doors, he finally raised enough money. In 1987, at just 34 years old, Howard Schultz bought Starbucks. What he bought was not a global brand. It was only a few small stores and a roasting plant. There were no fancy drinks, no famous logo everywhere, and no worldwide recognition, just simple coffee beans. Now the real work began. Howard did not want Starbucks to be just another coffee shop. He wanted it to become a third place, a space between home and work where people could relax and feel comfortable. He slowly began changing everything. He introduced espresso drinks like lattes and cappuccinos. He designed stores with soft lighting, calm music, and comfortable seating. He wanted customers to stay longer, not rush out the door. The biggest change, however, was how he treated employees. He did not call them workers. He called them partners. Even part-time baristas received health benefits and company shares. This was very rare for a coffee business at that time. Howard never forgot his father's pain, how he was treated after his injury with no support or respect. That memory guided his leadership. He wanted every employee to feel valued. Starbucks began expanding across cities like Chicago and New York. At first, customers were curious. Words like latte and espresso sounded foreign. But slowly, people embraced the experience. Holding a Starbucks cup began to feel special. It was no longer just about drinking coffee. It was about enjoying a moment. By the early 1990s, Starbucks had grown to hundreds of stores and was earning strong profits. In 1992, the company went public, allowing people to buy its shares on the stock market. Growth continued rapidly. More stores opened. Revenue increased. The brand became popular and modern. However, fast growth brought new challenges. Some stores began losing the warm, personal feeling that made Starbucks unique. The company was expanding so quickly that the original spirit started fading. Howard felt concerned. He never wanted to build a cold, corporate machine. He wanted to build something meaningful. By the year 2000, Starbucks had thousands of stores worldwide. It looked successful on the outside, but Howard felt exhausted. After leading the company for many years, he stepped down as CEO, believing new leadership could take it further. At first, the company continued to grow. Profits increased and more stores opened. But slowly, something invisible began to break: the emotional connection with customers. Then came the global financial crisis in 2007 and 2008. People lost jobs. Families reduced spending. A $4 coffee suddenly felt like a luxury. Sales dropped. Stores closed. The company's stock price fell sharply. Starbucks, once seen as unstoppable, was now struggling. And Howard Schultz was watching it all happen from the sidelines, knowing deep inside that the story was not over yet. By 2008, Starbucks was in serious trouble. The world was facing a financial crisis. People were losing jobs. Families were cutting expenses. A cup of coffee that once felt like a small treat now felt too expensive. Sales dropped quickly. Stores started closing. The company's stock price fell sharply. Many people believed Starbucks had grown too fast and lost its heart. Howard Schultz could not ignore what was happening. Even though he had stepped down as CEO years earlier, he still cared deeply about the company. When he visited stores, he felt something was missing. The warmth was fading. The connection between baristas and customers felt weaker. Starbucks was busy, but did not feel special anymore. In 2008, Howard made a big decision. He returned as CEO, but this time, he was not coming back to celebrate success. He was coming back to fix a broken dream. His first step was bold and risky. He closed hundreds of underperforming stores. It was painful. Many employees lost their jobs. But Howard believed that saving the company meant making hard choices. He also stopped opening new stores for a while. Growth would wait. Quality would come first. Then he did something surprising. He closed all Starbucks stores in the United States for one day. Thousands of stores, all at once. It cost millions of dollars. Why? Because he wanted to retrain every barista. He wanted them to remember how to make perfect espresso. More importantly, he wanted them to remember why Starbucks existed: to serve people, not just coffee. Howard reminded his team of something simple. We are not in the coffee business serving people. We're in the people business serving coffee. He focused again on the small details that made Starbucks special. Better coffee machines, fresher ingredients, warmer store designs, softer music, more personal conversations. He removed items that distracted from the coffee experience. He wanted customers to feel that magic again when they walked through the door. At the same time, he also embraced new ideas. Starbucks introduced free Wi-Fi. They improved their mobile app and rewards program. Customers could order from their phones. These changes made life easier while keeping the experience personal. Slowly, things began to change. Customers returned. Sales improved. The stock price started rising again. Within a few years, Starbucks was strong once more. The company that many thought was falling apart had recovered. But for Howard, success was never just about money. He believed the company should stand for something bigger. Starbucks invested in ethical sourcing of coffee. They supported farmers. They focused on sustainability. They hired veterans and people from underserved communities. Howard wanted Starbucks to lift people up, not just earn profits. By 2017, Starbucks had grown to tens of thousands of stores around the world. Millions of people visited every week. The green logo became one of the most recognized symbols on the planet. From a small shop in Seattle to a global brand, the journey was incredible. Eventually, Howard stepped down again, this time on his own terms. He had built what he once imagined as a young boy watching his father struggle. A company that respected workers. A place where employees were called partners. A brand built not only on coffee, but on connection. Howard Schultz's story teaches us something powerful. Your past does not decide your future. Rejection does not mean stop. Hard times do not mean the end. Sometimes they are the beginning of something stronger. He started as a poor boy in a small apartment. He faced more than 200 rejections. He was told his idea would fail, but he kept believing. And because he believed, millions of people today hold a cup of coffee that represents more than a drink. It represents warmth, belonging, and the power of not giving up. This was never just a story about coffee. It was a story about courage. And maybe, just maybe, your story is waiting to begin too.